day, D, all day.
Our next percent question is a mixture question. Mixture questions are not really all that different than any other type of percent question, except for maybe the context of the scenario being given. And so if you are comfortable making your percent translations, and if you know how to translate percent statements from words into algebra, this should not be that much different than what we've been doing. The air in Earth's atmosphere roughly consists of 80% nitrogen and 20% oxygen. If a biochamber currently contains 80 liters of air, consisting of 90% nitrogen and 10% oxygen, how much oxygen must be pumped into the chamber to simulate the composition of Earth's atmosphere? And so we have, to start, we got 80 liters of air, right? And then they say 90% is nitrogen. And 10% is oxygen. So we sort of have this before scenario and then this after scenario, which we're trying to get to. So these values here, this is really our before scenario. So our nitrogen, when starting out, should be 90% of 80, which is just 9 times 8, or so we have 72 liters of nitrogen, which if we have 80 liters overall means we should have 8 liters of oxygen. 10% of 80 is 8. So they give us everything in terms of oxygen, right? Because that is, they're asking us how much oxygen needs to be pumped in. And so we have 10% oxygen right now. We're trying to get to 20% oxygen. So what does that mean? So to start, that means our oxygen is 8 over 80, right? It's our oxygen over our total is 8 liters O2 over 80 liters air. So that's our mixture of oxygen and nitrogen. Now, what we're trying to get is we want to figure out how much oxygen we need to pump in. So if we want to come up with an equation and include a variable for the thing we need to solve for, the amount of oxygen to be pumped in, well, how can we do that? So we are saying we're still looking for our oxygen over our total, but now we want that to be equal to 20%, right? Not 10%. And so this should be equal to 20%, which is 0.2 or 1/5. So you can think of this as my new oxygen over my new total. New meaning after I've pumped in some amount of oxygen. And so my new oxygen is going to be my old oxygen, 8 plus X, where X is the amount of oxygen I'm pumping in. But now this isn't over 80, right? Because my new total, it's not my old total, it's 80 plus the amount of oxygen I pumped in. So I'm not adding any nitrogen or anything. Even though I'm not adding any nitrogen or taking out any nitrogen, simply by adding more oxygen, the percentage of my nitrogen should go down. So by increasing my oxygen to 20%, I am by definition decreasing my nitrogen to 80%. So now I just need to solve for X, and X is the O2 being pumped in. And so cross multiply here. So 8 plus X times 5 would be equal to 80 plus X times 1, which is just 80 plus X. And I just got to solve for X here. So 40 plus 5X is equal to 80 plus X. So now we'll just subtract 40 from each side and then subtract X from each side. And I get 4X is equal to 40. And then X is equal to 10. So I got to pump in 10 liters of oxygen in order to get 20% oxygen overall. And so D is the answer.